Hello and welcome back to another video on my channel. I'm doing this one as a sort of shout out or continuing the thread or an entry, whichever way you want to put it, for Matt at Altars of Madness. He's doing a Halloween giveaway and he asked us to do 5 albums that are horror related, whether it be the subject matter or the artwork or if like of a film, and then to actually name 5 horror movies, which sort of sits right in my wheelhouse. Now, I've been fortunate enough to meet Matt a couple of times up at the town at gigs, and the guy you see on the YouTube channel is exactly the same person in real life. I know that sounds a little bit silly, but there's no pretension, there's no airs and graces. His knowledge of extreme music is far beyond his years. He's, you know, that guy knows his stuff. So, on that note, I'm going to start the music side of the giveaway with a band that Matt actually introduced me to. Now, it wasn't this album I'm going to show, it was their second album, but the band in question are called Scolopendra, and this album is called Those of the Catacombs. Now, as you can see by the artwork, if that doesn't scream horror movie and Halloween and violence and death, then I don't know what does. It's a debut release on Nuclear War Now Productions, and they're an Italian band, and it's very much a death metal album with almost blackened vocals, not quite as harsh as some of the more established black metal, but almost like a spoken word at times. It varies between mid to fast pace, and there's a groove that runs through it that ties it in really nicely. Now, on the back, without trying to get the glare, which I apologise for again, you can see the people in the band. This is one of those albums that on first listen I wasn't sure at all, but the more I listened to it, the more I started to understand it. Probably the best way to describe it, and the more time I've spent with it, the better it got. So really, showing it in a Halloween style video saved me doing it in a update video. Not that I've done one of them yet, but you know, there's one coming. So yeah, it's well worth a listen. The artwork is incredible, and if I'd have been a real YouTuber, I'd have made a note of who the artist was, but because I'm just winging it, you know, I forgot. But yeah, it's definitely worth a listen. It's not your bog standard death metal. It's got little bits and bobs all the way through it. They just, yeah, something a little bit different. Next up, and the one that took me most of the day to find, again, it is death metal, and it is very horror influenced artwork on the cover. Now, the band are called Tenebro, and the album is called, I'm going to have to turn it around and read it, L'Inizio di un Incubo. Now, anybody out there that speaks whatever language that is written in, I do apologise for absolutely butchering it. I struggle to speak English, so whatever that is, I don't know. This came out on Extreme Music in it's 2022, and it's not the best produced album you'd ever wish to hear. However, the music that accompanies it, it's sort of like a low, not really lo-fi, like some extreme black metal, but it's quite erratic all the way through, and the way it's being produced sort of just helps it along. I'm probably not explaining that very well, but you need to listen to it. Now, everything that these have done, I've absolutely loved. Don't know what that says about me and my taste in music, but it's well worth a listen. But go into it expecting not top notch production, but quality musicianship that's, like I said, erratic. There's no what's the word? I use the word flow quite a lot, which is quite annoying, but it's yeah, it's a really good album. Like I said, everything so far I've heard by these, I've really enjoyed. So yeah, give it a go if you like it. Great stuff. That's what we do with these videos for, to hopefully get other people interested in stuff that we like as well. Again, I'm going to have to try and sort the lights out. I apologise for the glare. So, next up, there's no way I could have done any type of a horror related video and not mentioned the mighty Fulci. But rather than going for Tropical Sun, which is, you know, flawless, I thought I'd go for Opening the Hell Gates. Now this came out in 2021. I believe it was the debut actually, and it came out on where are we? Time to Kill Records. Sorry about that. Again, it does what it says on the tin. It's super aggressive to the point where at times it's almost slam metal, which I know a lot of people don't slam deathcore and that. To me, there's only two types of music: shit I listen to and shit I don't listen to. Simple as that. So all these genres and subgenres, yeah, it's just music that I like. But yeah, if you've only listened to Tropical Sun, which if you listen to Tropical Sun you're already on a winner, then I would definitely give this a spin. It's how can you describe it without going over the top? It's Fulci. It literally is. It's a Fulci album that's not trying to rewrite the history of death metal. It's not trying to reinvent the wheel. It's not trying to do anything apart from make you bang your head, pull a riff face, and enjoy yourself. So, number 4. Now, I sort of went for this one more to do with the cover. Now, this is the dark cover. I'm hoping this light isn't going to spoil it too much, but on the front, you'll see we have a Reaper, or several Reapers, and on the back, the dude that gets blamed for all the ills in the world, when it's probably not him, is there in all his glory. The band in question are called Purgatory, so it still ties in with the whole thing of hell and death and, you know. Anyway, the album title, it's Necromanteon. Now, I don't know why they've stuck an extra couple of vowels in there. You know, it's their prerogative, I guess. This is their 6th full length. It's the only one I own, which needs to be rectified. This is old school, unapologetic death metal that just smashes your face in, waits till you recover, smashes your face in again, waits till you recover. It doesn't try to be clever or over technical or anything like that. It's just old school death metal. And if you don't like old school death metal, then you're probably not going to be watching this video anyway. So hey ho. But yeah, so that's it. Purgatory, bloody light. Necromanteon with extra vowels for some reason. The last one is, I had to pick this because of the artwork. Now this is a gatefold, and on the cover you will see, sorry, it's Shed the Skin, and the album is called Harrowing Faith. Now these guys, similar to Purgatory in the fact they do death metal an old-fashioned way that doesn't need changing. They don't try and do anything different apart from absolutely just twatty facing. On the back we've got some of the ladies in the cloisters, I think they're called, something like that. And it does actually, it is a gatefold. I don't know if I can get my big fat head out of there, you know. There is actually a poster inside that has the full artwork on, but because I'm really not very well organised, it's inside, and it's 3 panels wide as well, so it wouldn't fit in the camera screen without hiding my pretty face, and we don't want to do that. So again, like I said, this is akin to Purgatory in the fact that it's just no nonsense, smash your face in, unapologetic, brutal, old school death metal. If you've never heard them, I really would suggest that you listen to this one. Again, this is it's the debut. I think they've got another 3 albums out. Again, it's the only one I own, and this is proper and nasty, the type of thing that Mark G says you pull the riff face for. This one, you pull the riff face, you pull your ears off, you do the claw of death, bollock grab, whatever you want to call it, because it is all the way through. It's, you know, there's a couple of little time to get your breath back, but then it just kicks your twat in again, you know, like death metal's supposed to. So that's the records out of the way. In the movies, I thought I'd try and be slightly different. Obviously all the classics I could have mentioned: American Werewolf in London, The Thing, The Exorcist, even going way back to the Draculas, Frankenstein, the Wolfman and all that. So I thought what I'd do was, now I had to have one I consider it a classic, and it's the inspiration for a band I mentioned earlier, or I assume it is, Zombie Flesh Eaters. Now I know I think it was in America and Australia it was just called Zombie without an E on the end, but I remember watching this. I think I'll have been, what age will I have been? This came out in '79, so I'll have been maybe 80, 81 when I watched it. I don't mean I was that old, I mean that's when the year it was, so I'll have been 13 or 14. And I remember watching it. A friend had, his mum had got it on VHS, like from a video shop, so I am dating myself. And he lived at the top of the estate from where I lived. Now, I watched this film, never seen anything quite like it before. I'd watched the Draculas and, you know, Vincent Price and them chaps. Never bothered me. I left his house probably midnight. I got back home about 30 seconds later. I have never ever ran so fast in my life, because in my head, all these that were in this, yeah, the motherfuckers were right behind me, weren't they? Silly boy. Next up is one of my favourite films ever. I consider this, it's up there with any horror classic that you want to name, I'll mention. It's called American Mary. Oh, that glare's bad. The Soska sisters did this, and it was the first one of their movies I ever watched. Catherine Isabel plays Mary, and she is absolutely tremendous in this. And it's a very psychological, you know, there's not jump scares in it, but it's proper twisted, and it's really, really clever. It's brilliantly written, it's brilliantly directed. The Soska sisters actually have a cameo in it, a bit like a Hitchcock type cameo thing. But if you haven't seen it, I think you're missing out, because this is a film that deserves to get more praise, credit, mentions than it does. Again, I apologise for the glare, I'm going to have to sort the lighting out, but yeah, it's definitely worth a watch. Again, along the similar lines to that is a film called The Stylist. Now, the lady that directed this, now she's got is called Jill Giverzian. I apologise if she happens to watch this and I'm butchering the name. This again is a psychological film. If you think of the next time you go to the hairdressers, don't know what you mean, try not to upset her, you know, the lady with the scissors and the sharp objects and stuff. That's all I'm going to say without spoiling the rest of the film. But this is really clever and really, really twisted and very sick, which is, but it's not, there seems to be a big influence on a lot of them now with gore. And don't get me wrong, I love slasher movies. I was brought up in the 80s, I'm bound to. This is a very clever film, shot brilliantly, acted brilliantly, and yeah, it's very disturbing, but in a good way, if there is such a thing. Right, the next one, I will be genuinely surprised if no one's heard of this. It's a bit of a cheat actually, because they're both in the same case, but Neil Marshall is director, and so obviously it had to be The Descent. When I first watched this, it creeped me out. Something rotten. And even now, I must have seen it 100 times. And there's still certain sections when I know the jump scares are coming, but like a big daft idiot, I still jump. Now, Descent Part 2, yeah, not quite as good. But a continuation, so it's just like one long film. But this one, I think, if you haven't seen it, I'll be surprised, to be honest, because it's been around for, when did it come out? 2005. The way he builds tension and atmosphere it's just incredible. A hell of a director. He's one of my favourites. But this is, again, it's Creep Fest with creatures and dark bits. Bit of a giveaway in the title, really, but yeah. So there we go. That's The Descent. Now, finally, this is my favourite ever werewolf film, and it's absolutely fantastic. Again, it's a Neil Marshall movie that came out in 2002, and it is the mighty, super incredible Dog Soldiers. If you want your horror to have horror, tension, scary bits, with a wicked, ridiculously good sense of humour all the way through it, but not in a like a parody type of way, I would highly recommend this. Now, the transformation of the werewolf in American Werewolf in London, is without doubt one of the best that's ever been caught on camera, especially for when it was done. The werewolves in this, I reckon if they were in London that day, they'd have kicked his ass easy, just because they would, because they're cool as shit. But yeah, the humour in this is as dark as the story and the production and the direction and everything in it. It's an absolute favourite of mine. It gets watched far too often. Mrs. Beast is sick of seeing it, but that's why she's got to tell you elsewhere. But so that's it. I will leave a link to Matt's channel down below, because I know how to do it now. In the background, just so I didn't have to use Mark's Tumbleweed, we've been listening to the mighty Consecration and their latest album, Sinis. Now, if you bought this on CD, well done. If you bought it on vinyl, it's got a couple of tracks that aren't on the CD. Sorry, a couple of tracks that are on the CD aren't on the vinyl. So if you only bought the vinyl, then get onto Bandcamp, buy the CD as well, or the cassette, or both, added. This is incredible. This is an album that will get played at least once a week, if not more. And I'm not just saying it to blow smoke up Liam's ass. He gets enough of that anyway from himself when he looks in the mirror. You can tell he's one of them people. You can just tell. So yeah. So anyway, if you don't know who Matt is, I say I'll leave a link to his channel downstairs, and pop over, give his competition a watch, throw an entry in yourself, watch his other his collection is ridiculous, and he gets some absolute worldies, and he's told me some. So anyway, I'm getting quite used to this YouTube like. Still very amateurish, but you know, we're getting there, so hopefully we'll see you in episode 4. Cheers.